So, since you guys are here, since we're all here, let's get the party started, right? Hi, I'm Lisa. Good to see you. I mean, you guys probably, if you're here, you know my name is Lisa. I am a longtime television journalist. I have been reporting the news and politics on TV at your local news stations for almost 20 years, believe it or not. And in 2018, I left local news and started my own, with a bunch of other great journalists. We started our own digital content network called Beyond TV. That's BEOND.TV. There's a lot of really great shows on that digital platform. We have a television show as well, which I co-host, Carlos and Lisa. So please go support Beyond TV. That would mean so much to me. And for those of you who are returning to my page, welcome. Good to see you again. Thank you for coming back. And for everyone who is new, welcome to my live. I do this. Thank you guys so much for those gifts. That was so sweet of you. I've never seen the train before. That's new. For those of you who are new to this page, every Thursday at about 4 o'clock Pacific time, I go live and I usually spend about 20 minutes or so talking to you about what's happening in the news, what the big stories are, what I'm covering, what you guys should be kind of keeping on your radar, and sort of we push ahead and talk about what's coming down the pipeline in the next couple of days that I'm also watching. And then I like to leave some time at the end to open up to questions and answer some of your questions while I'm here. Mike Boyd, thank you. So let's get into what I want to talk about, and then I'm happy to answer as many questions as I possibly can. One more little note about my TikTok page, where I share news, of course. It's important for you guys to understand, I generally, on my TikTok page, only cover national news that sort of impacts all of us. I don't normally get involved, or ever, rarely, get involved in state or local news stories, nor do I get involved in individual cases. So, like, I don't cover events happening in certain states that are not happening in other states, and I don't get involved in individual cases at all. So you won't see any of those kinds of things on my page. I generally stick to national news that impacts all of us. So that just kind of gives you a little background about how my page works and what happens here. Also, a little note about my page, I always post my TikTok videos on my website, lisaremillard.com. So every day, you can go to my website and you can watch through my website all of my TikTok videos, all of the news stories I cover, and then included in that, I always put links to the actual documents and source material that I am using to create these videos. So if I'm talking about a bill that Congress is passing, if you go to my website, you will find that bill right there linked. If I'm talking about a statement that somebody in our government has made, you will find a link to that statement that you can read for yourself. So just a little thing to keep in the back of your head if you're ever wondering about where I'm getting this information or where it's coming from, or if you want to read it for yourself, I always put it on my website. Okay, that said, let's talk about the news, right? Okay, so the big news sort of nationally, of course, is the retirement of Justice Stephen Breyer. So many of you have commented about that. I did do a video yesterday when it was sort of announced unexpectedly that he was going to be retiring. Today was his official retirement announcement. Just a little note that I think is important. Every single justice on the bench currently right now put out a statement responding to the retirement of Justice Breyer. And if I were you, I would read those statements. And lucky for you, you follow me. And I posted a compilation on Twitter, and I will put it on my website as well. I posted a compilation of all of those statements from all the other justices, conservatives and other liberals, about the retirement of Justice Breyer. And I just encourage you to read them because they really show how we can all differ politically, but that doesn't mean we have to be enemies, and we can actually, dare I say, be friends. And obviously no place in the world sort of embodies that more than the Supreme Court, where ideologically there's such a divide. But in reality, and at the end of the day, these people are also work colleagues. So they, share that, and they are civil human beings, even though their ideas couldn't be farther apart. So I would encourage you to go to my Twitter account. And again, I will post it on my website later tonight, but I would go to my Twitter account, which is Lisa Remillard on Twitter. And you will see the very first thing I tweeted today was that compilation of all those retirement congratulations. It was very nice. And, it was just something that moved me today that I think, is worth everybody taking a read. So with that said, and since you're here, I'll tell you early. Later tonight, I am posting a video. V Park, thank you. Later tonight, I am posting a video about something a lot of commenters have said in response to the president saying that he will nominate a Black woman to replace Justice Breyer. I have gotten repeatedly the comment, why does he have to base it on race? Why can't he just say he's going to nominate the most qualified? So I have a video later tonight that is going to give you the actual qualifications of all the sitting Supreme Court justices. And I'm going to blow your mind right here, especially for people who are new to politics. There is a justice sitting on the high court right now who has never been a judge before. Let that one sink in. And here's what, I'll do you one better. I shouldn't have said that, I gave it away. But that justice comes from a long line of conservative and liberal justices who had no experience as a judge prior to sitting on the high court. How about that? So my point in telling you that is not to upset you. My point in telling you that is that there are many qualifications and many things about a human being that go into their selection as a Supreme Court justice. It's not just time on a bench. It's not just, their political ideology. There's so many other things that go into it. It's a really interesting video. I actually had a lot of fun kind of looking into all of these things and all of the qualifications of the sitting justices. So that video will go out later today. Okay, so that's Justice Breyer. The president today during the retirement announcement from Justice Breyer said that he would put forth his pick, his nominee for the Supreme Court by the end of February, no later than the end of February. He said all of those nominees, as always, as every president says, they will go through a rigorous sort of screening process, background process, all of these things. Interesting, President Biden said today he would be consulting Senate Democrats and Republicans on their thoughts on who should sit in that seat. Ultimately, as I have said repeatedly, this is a perk. It is a duty. Really, it is a duty under the Constitution and a privilege, quite frankly, that every president gets, which is it is at the president's discretion to nominate whomever he chooses to sit on the court. That is the president's choice. Period. Full stop. There is nobody else can nominate a justice other than the president. And it is this sole discretion. And if the president says, I want to nominate an alien from Mars, obviously he wouldn't do that. However, that's his choice. Do you know what I'm saying? So this is part of the process, and this is the way the process has always gone. It's important to know that though the president says he will have his nominee by the end of February, the Senate Majority Leader says that he will get that nominee through the confirmation process very quickly. So we are expecting that this whole new justice business should be wrapped up by April, late March, early April. So it is going to move fast, probably not as fast as Justice Amy Coney Barrett's nomination and a confirmation process, but fast. So that is the Justice Breyer situation. Another topic that I am covering that a lot of you guys are concerned about is what is happening with Russia, Ukraine, and the United States. As of tonight, nothing really new, dramatically new, other than the United States delivered a written response to Russia's demands. Russia put out, I think it was last week, a list of things that they want in order to stand down from Ukraine. Chief among them was a guarantee in writing that Ukraine would never join NATO or would never be allowed to join NATO, which Vladimir Putin has always known was not an option. So the Russians received that written response from the United States today. They said that there were some, obviously that's not all that was in there. There was more in there. And the Russians said there were some other things in that document that can further the negotiations and talks. But really that is their main issue. And the United States and NATO are saying, sorry, not sorry. We're not dealing. That's not an option. So what happens next? Really anybody's guess at this point. We are just waiting. We are waiting. Everybody from the State Department to the Defense Department, the White House, they're all saying sort of everything is in Russia's court right now. And those 8,500 troops from the United States that I mentioned in that video that I posted 2 days ago, it's important for you to understand that they are not going, nor were they ever going to go, according to the president and the White House, they are not, nor have they ever been going to Ukraine. They will be deployed, if they are deployed, that up to 8,500 U.S. troops, they would go to other NATO countries. They would not be going to Ukraine. In fact, today when President Biden spoke with President Zelensky of Ukraine, President Biden again reiterated that the United States would not be sending troops to Ukraine. So there is that. President Biden reportedly also told President Zelensky a lot of other things that the United States would not be doing to get not getting involved in certain aspects of this. And one of those things is not sending any additional like heavy or sophisticated weaponry more than what has already been sent. So sort of tonight, status quo. There are some reports that Russia has added to the troops there on the border with Ukraine. And whether or not they move in is sort of, according to the White House, it is imminent, but it has been imminent for at least a week now. So that is something that we are watching as well. So I wanted to touch on Ukraine. I wanted to touch on Justice Breyer. I also wanted to touch real quick on tax stuff. I know it's boring, but tax stuff, of course, obviously on Monday the 24th, the IRS started, of course, accepting your tax returns and processing your tax returns. I want to make sure you guys understand how to properly calculate your child tax credit, which is the amount that you are owed based on your financial qualifications and the age of your child, minus the amount that you received in monthly child tax credit payments, and then that answer to that math problem is how much you will claim in child tax credit on your 2021 tax return. I got a lot of questions as well about those two letters. There are two letters the IRS is sending. One is about your stimulus payment, and the other is about how much money the government sent you in child tax credit payments monthly. And lots of you are like, I can't find the letter. I never got the letters. My husband threw out the letters. My wife threw out the letters. My dog ate the letters. So let me just be very clear. You can go for the stimulus letter, which is the confirmation that you received a stimulus in 2021 and the amount of stimulus the federal government paid you in 2021. You can go and create an IRS account on irs.gov, and that's where I found mine. It is there in that account. The child tax credit letter, all the information about how much the federal government thinks it sent you in child tax credit payments can be found in your child tax credit portal. I don't have children, so I don't have a child tax credit portal account, so I can't tell you exactly where that is. So there is that, and I think that's all I have. So with that, let's talk about what you guys want to talk about. What questions do you have? Will your accountant be able to dig it up? Probably not. Your accountant will probably ask you for it, though. CMS vaccine mandate for healthcare workers. There is no update on that. According to the Supreme Court, it is moving forward. So those deadlines are fast approaching, and vaccination is a requirement under the CMS vaccine mandate. And I did put out a video earlier this week this is important. I did put out a video earlier this week that the United States government, basically the Biden administration, is scrapping for now completely the OSHA vaccine or testing mandate for workers at companies with more than 100 employees. That happened earlier this week. And what that means is the Biden administration sort of acknowledged that the Supreme Court's preliminary ruling to put a temporary pause on the implementation of that vaccine mandate while the case played out in lower court. The Biden administration basically said in that document they filed this week that based on that Supreme Court ruling, they conceded that they would ultimately most likely lose that case as it went up through the appellate process and ultimately back to the Supreme Court. So they're just like, forget it, we're not dealing with it. But that with that said, the federal government, there is a footnote in that document that they filed saying, just because we are removing the emergency temporary standard from OSHA, the rule that they were using to implement this vaccine mandate, just because we are removing that emergency temporary standard doesn't mean we're not also going to continue to work on a permanent solution to a vaccine mandate. Now, don't get upset, don't get wild about it. There are no details about it, and there is no specifics about what it would be, how it would work, what it would look like, who it would apply to. There is no specifics on it. So I would just stand down on it for now because there is nothing really to talk about with it. Okay, I hope that answers those questions. Will the school mandates be canceled? School mandates are not done by the federal government. Those are done through either your state, your county, or your local school district, so that it's completely up to your school district. There is no fourth federal stimulus check, guys. No, it's not true. Anybody who's telling you that knows nothing about how government works. Hard to say. I mean, lawmakers talk about it, but I don't see any legislation moving at this point. And right now, quite honestly, now that the Supreme Court, we're now going into a Supreme Court nomination process, I think it's going to be even harder to get that piece of legislation through. Not to say it won't happen. It's just adding to the pile of things. And so right now there's no serious movement. Of course, lawmakers, I know there's a Mitt Romney bill that's being kind of tossed around, but there's no serious movement on it.